York is not the only place getting slammed. More than half of the country, especially in the South and Midwest, dealing with historic cold and severe weather, causing a slowdown on COVID vaccine deliveries. We're feeling the impact of that right here in New York City. Angie Gonzalez is live from outside of Brooklyn Army Terminal, which was converted into a mass vaccination hub. Angie, what's happening there?
You know what? Not a whole lot, Cheryl. I have to say, you might think that the weather had something to do with that. Maybe people weren't in the mood to come out for those vaccine appointments, but that's not necessarily the case. In fact, you can't get an appointment here. I tried to hop online and get one and see if I was able to schedule one, but you can't do that. That's because all the appointments are taken at this point. So exactly why was this place, a mass vaccination site, so empty tonight? Well, Mayor de Blasio says that there are two reasons why, and weather is one of them. This group gathered outside the Brooklyn Army Terminal's mass COVID vaccination site aren't waiting for their appointments. They're actually in line to catch the bus. In fact, while the location was open and operational, even in the wintry weather, the majority of the foot traffic stayed outside the gates at the vaccination entrance. Inside, it was a virtual ghost town. Employees were on site and ready to work, but a quick search of the city's COVID vaccine finder shows this location has no first dose vaccination appointments available. According to Mayor de Blasio, there's a supply issue and two reasons behind it.
We do not have enough vaccine coming from the manufacturers, the federal government, the state government. We're not getting what we need. It's holding us back. The more we get, the more we can do. On top of that, we've had a weather problem.
While state and city vaccination sites weathered the storm and stayed open, the mayor says the lack of supply has set them back.
We've lost a couple of days in terms of vaccine supply. We are hopeful that by tomorrow our supply will be replenished and we can get back on track. But as everyone knows, 35,000 appointments had to be held back. Never liked doing that.
The city also had to delay the opening of two new vaccination sites due to the supply shortage and the weather. One at Martin Van Buren High School in Queens is now scheduled to open over the weekend. And one at the Empire Outlets on Staten Island is supposed to come online on Friday. And Cheryl, we got word from Governor Cuomo that they received word from federal officials today that week 10, the vaccines that were supposed to start coming on Monday, they were all delayed because of the weather issues. Every dose that was supposed to go out on Monday was held back, and only a limited number of the Pfizer vaccine went out on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we know that there is going to be a lot of appointments that are going to need to be made up after this vaccine shortage, but hopefully things will get back on track. In Sunset Park, Angie Gonzalez, New York 1. Cheryl, back to you.
We certainly hope things will get back on track. Angie, thank you for that live report. And he believes the country will get back to normal by the end of the year. So far, 41 million Americans have received at least one dose of the COVID vaccine. 16 million are fully vaccinated, and more than 1 million are in New York City alone. And tonight, it looks like indoor dining is expanding in baby steps. It was 25%. Today, the governor increasing it to 35%. Restaurant owners hoping for more like 50% as they struggle through the winter season with no tourists to help boost business. Tonight, Angie Gonzalez is live in Astoria with reaction. Angie.
And Cheryl, I can give you a smile because that's what I was getting from the restaurant owners we were speaking to tonight. Happy about this increase that is going to be coming next week. Mostly because, as you can see from these outdoor dining areas, it's not a place that customers really want to be in weather like this. For Catherine Fuchs, cooking is what makes her happy. But for the chef and owner of the Thirsty Koala in Astoria, that joy has been coupled with a lot of stress and uncertainty amid the pandemic. Now she says things appear to be turning a corner.
We're very hopeful for the future right now. Before I was very pessimistic, and now I feel hopeful.
After indoor dining reopened at 25% capacity February 12th, her optimism is now being fueled by a new announcement from Governor Cuomo. In a week's time, indoor dining capacity will increase to 35%. For Fuchs, that 10% won't do much for her bottom line, since she has a smaller dining room.
Basically, we'll be able to add a table of two.
But to her, it's an indication that they may not have to rely on their outdoor dining area as much. And considering the recent weather, that's a blessing. Over in Albatross, a few blocks away, owner Nathan Finnegan is cautiously optimistic about the news.
We're at 35% and we're, trying to dig ourselves out of a hole that was a year long. So 35% is really, a step in the right direction, but it's not going to solve any of our problems.
He owns 2 Astoria spots, this being the smaller of the 2. What he and other restaurant owners find the most encouraging is how quickly the decision to increase capacity has come down. Previously, the process seemed to languish. He just hopes there aren't any political motivations behind the change.
I hope that they're following the science and that this is the safest measure, and that's what they've been doing all along.
What's different now is that restaurant workers now qualify for the COVID-19 vaccine, and testing is widely available. At Astoria's Bel Air Diner, they see the increase in capacity as something that can make a difference.
For us, an extra 10% is 20 people. So for us, it's a lot more.
And Cheryl, one thing that restaurant owners say is also encouraging about this increase to capacity is it's going to allow them to hire back more of their staff. That is something that they really have wanted to do because in addition to, having their own economic situation to deal with, they treat a lot of their workers like family, and they want to see them get back to work as well. In Astoria, Angie Gonzalez, New York 1. Back to you, Cheryl.
Angie, thank you for that live report. Rate of storms. There's also a slew of new openings as COVID cases decline across the state. Starting March 26th, indoor entertainment venues can welcome folks back at 25% capacity. Sleepaway camps also getting the green light to open this season, and outdoor amusement parks can reopen in April. And that's a major sign of relief for local businesses. Tonight, our coverage continues with Angie Gonzalez. She's live in Coney Island with more. Angie.
Yeah, Cheryl, and the owners of Luna Park here in Coney Island say that they're actually more ready than you might expect to reopen. They were prepared to reopen over the summer when lots of the city was reopening. Businesses started to, but that never actually happened for amusement parks. So they say that this couldn't come soon enough, and they are so excited to return. It's been a hard year for the Coney Island community and its businesses. Councilman Mark Traeger, who represents the area at City Hall, says the Brooklyn neighborhood is at a critical juncture in its history.
I have seen reports where Coney Island's unemployment rate, because of this pandemic and the impact of the pandemic, has reached somewhere close to 30%. We have a double than average small business vacancy rate.
Traeger says it's because of how heavily the people here and the small businesses in this community rely on Coney Island's amusement district. The area brings visitors here from other parts of the city and the world, from the spring all the way through the fall. That wasn't the case in 2020.
Last year was the first year in history that the Coney Island amusement season was closed for the entire year.
Luna Park alone employs about 1,200 people each season, according to Alessandro Zamperla, the president and CEO of Central Amusement International, Inc., which operates the amusement park. After losing more than 95% of their revenue last year amid mandated closures, he finally has reason to smile.
Really great sense of joy, of relief, to be able to share first and foremost with the team members, with all the great team members that work with us, and then with the guests, with the community. So cannot wait to open Luna Park in Coney Island.
While Governor Cuomo has announced that outdoor amusement parks can reopen starting April 9th at 33% capacity, what remains to be released are any specific guidelines for what will be required to reopen. Alexandra Silversmith, the executive director of the Alliance for Coney Island, says even with that still up in the air, they hope this year-long roller coaster ride of emotions is hopefully nearing an end.
That glimmer of hope that we can recover and rebuild, whether that's obviously metaphorically at this point. It's not like Superstorm Sandy, but we keep having to rebuild. We are resilient. And I see a bright future ahead now that we have this path starting to be brought to light.
And Zamperla thinks reopening will do more than help boost the economy. He hopes it'll bring some much needed relief after a really trying year.
And the amusement park is a magic place where you can where you can have a moment where you kind of forget a little bit of your worries. You can really create memories with family, with friends.
And Cheryl, I don't know about you, whether you're a park goer yourself, but people who do come to Luna Park year after year where they have something else to look forward to. Millions of dollars in renovations took place before last season, including the addition of 6 new kiddie rides, which never saw the light of day last year. They will be new this season. In Coney Island, Angie Gonzalez, Europe 1. Cheryl, back to you.
Angie, I know so many of us are hoping for some normalcy this summer on Coney Island. Thank you for that. And a new